Hello everyone, here's a status update from 100 days after returning back home to Denmark, on top of reaching every country in the world. Yes, I've been to your country in one unbroken journey, meaning I did not go home between leaving home and going to every country in the world. And it was done completely without flying. Yes, I did not fly at any point. Every country in the world in an unbroken journey, completely without flying. And for the purposes of this video, we are borrowing the beautiful capital of Warsaw in Poland. And the reason why I'm here is a different story. So, 100 days back home, what has it been like? And how do I feel? How am I coping? And what is next? Yes. First of all, thank you. That should probably have been the very first word out of my mouth. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to everyone who gave me a place to sleep, everyone who made a donation, everyone who helped me with translations, everyone who pointed me in the right direction. Thank you to all the shipping companies, definitely to all the seafarers. Thank you to everyone involved in this project, the project partners. I have some really special friends that were a part of this project from the get-go. There was Anne Christina, there was Søren, there was Part, my father Torben, my wonderful ultra wifey, my good friend Kuno. So many people helped and supported and backed me from the beginning, throughout, and all the way to the end of what came to be the most demanding thing I've ever done within my life. Now, I am very proud of Once Upon a Saga. I think we did really good within that project. We didn't pay any bribes. We stuck with the 3 cardinal rules: no flights, no return home, and a minimum of 24 hours in every country. We stuck with that throughout. We went through the Ebola epidemic. Do you guys even remember that? And we dealt with the global COVID-19 pandemic. Right, okay, so I arrived back home on the 26th of July 2023, which was 9 years, 9 months, and 16 days after I left home. So not 10 years, but pretty close. And I had an amazing welcome with more than 100 people at the port of Aarhus. Thanks to everyone involved, all the planning, all the organization that had to go into that. That was a really nice welcome back home to Denmark. The sun was shining for about 15 minutes before it started raining. So I knew I was back home. That was pretty good. I mean, I was given so many wonderful gifts from so many wonderful people. Hugs, lots of love and kindness. That was a wonderful way to return home after almost a decade away. And then Ultra Wifey and I went out and had lunch, and everything calmed down. And I had a few interviews within the first days, and it wasn't too hectic. And I was trying to sort of get my foothold. And then the avalanche of interviews and media attention started rolling down over me. And it was crazy. I had a good 3 weeks with 8 to 10 interviews a day on average, which was truly hectic. And have a look at this. That was really hectic and demanding. I was trying to make this transition, trying to return home to Denmark after such a long time away. An example I often use is to say, think about soldiers that are deployed in a foreign nation for 6, 7, 8 months. And when they come back home, they have an awful lot to deal with mentally. And while the body returns home, it takes more time for the mind to return home. And for some people it takes months, for some people it takes years, for some people it just never happens. They never really come home. And I've been home for just a little more than 3 months now. And it feels good to be back home. It feels good to wake up next to Ultra Wifey. I've seen a great deal of my friends and a great deal of family. I've seen my core family, my mother, my father, and my 2 siblings. But I haven't seen everyone I want to see, not yet. Because the next chapter of all of this started to roll. Can't help to worry just a little bit when people are walking around behind me, but they seem cool enough. Yeah, so the next chapter began to roll, and the next chapter, of course, is, can I get a book deal? Can I start a career, speaking engagements as a public speaker? And what about the documentary? Well, there was a lot of coordination, a lot of meetings, a lot was going on, a lot of research as always. And I'm happy to say that I am teaming up with a very prominent publisher for the book. That's going to be really, really good. I'm signing with an agent as well, a very prominent agent. So that's going to be really good. And I'm writing the book in English. So we expect the book will be out in sales by the end of 2024, maybe early 2025. We expect that the documentary, which my friend Mike Douglas, the Grand Canadian, is working on. Mike is an award-winning filmmaker, so we're in really, really good hands with Mike and the documentary. And as of the latest, from what I've heard, he's done more than 45 minutes of this, which is going to be a full feature film. It's going to be worth watching. The book is going to be worth reading. And I'm going on a speaking tour in February and in March 2024. That's going to be in Denmark, and I will be speaking in Danish, and I'm going to 8 Danish cities, which is something that I'm really looking forward to. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be good to go out there and spread the story. Meanwhile, I've had several speaking engagements in Denmark. I had one in Portugal at the Travel Fest, which was a lot of fun and very interesting and well planned out. I'm trying to start a life with Ultra Wifey. We've been living in a long distance relationship for almost a decade. She came out to visit me 27 times around the world, and we got engaged and married twice. Although none of it is registered in Denmark yet, so we need to start working on that. Depends a little bit on the government in Vanuatu. So let's see if they pick up the pace at some point. But I mean, we love each other and we're happy that we're living under the same roof. At the same time, it takes a little time getting used to being side by side with someone every day, day in and day out. And we're doing really good. And let's make sure that we keep doing good. So mentally, I have good days and I have bad days. It was highly stressful. The project, every country in the world without flying, especially towards the end, it became, and when I say towards the end, let's say the last 3 or 4 years, it was unbelievably stressful. Moving forward, hoping that nothing would go wrong, nothing would happen to me, nothing would happen to anyone that I care about or anyone that I love. It was supposed to be a 4-year project, not an almost 10-year project. So a lot has changed in the time while I've been away. I left home when iPhone 5 was the newest iPhone. And I mean, look up what the newest one is now. Greta Thunberg, who's a wonderful Swedish woman who started a wave of consciousness behind the green thought, I suppose we can say, like a wonderful green wave of we have to do something because the course that we were on, and which we kind of still are on, is just not sustainable, and it might at some point be the end of all of us. So we have to do something. Now, why do I mention her? Well, first of all, I didn't visit every country in the world without flying because it was some green thing. It wasn't about having a low CO2 footprint. Although I'm very proud that I have a low CO2 footprint throughout all of that. I did it because it was something that had never been done before. And I mentioned Greta Thunberg just to remind all of you that I left in 2013. And Greta, she didn't start with her school strikes for the climate until 5 years after I left home. That's how much has changed over the course of 10 years. Several presidents and prime ministers, and I mean, when I left home, waste all went into one bin, more or less. Maybe you would separate glass. But now I'm back home and there are maybe 8 different bins, depending on if it's paper or plastic or cardboard or metal or whatever. And I like that it's going in that direction. I walk around in Copenhagen and I see charging stations everywhere for electric cars. And I think it's a good thing that we are moving away from the old ways and we're looking forward towards new and hopefully better ways. Now, all of this is up for debate, obviously, but you know, we have to start somewhere. The world has changed. I have changed. I have aged. Well, at this point, I've aged more than 10 years since I left home, because the 10th of October 2023 came and went, and that marked 10 years since I left home. I am still reflecting on all of this. Honestly, I can't believe that I came back home with all the teeth within my mouth and sight on both eyes and no broken bones, and I haven't been stabbed, and I haven't been shot, and I haven't been kidnapped, and I didn't die from strange diseases, and my head wasn't chopped off. I came home in one piece, and I came home more or less weighing the same as when I left home, which is something else, given the amount of weight that I put on during some years and the amount of weight that I lost on other years. So that was a bit up and down, but I balanced out and came home weighing the same. How on earth did I manage to go through every country in the world, over land and sea, on a tiny, tiny budget? Every country with armed conflict, every country with natural disasters, every country with virus outbreaks and whatnot, and I came back home unharmed. Well, at this point, I'm not shy to say either I am the luckiest man in the world, or the world just isn't as dangerous as a lot of people think it is. People are kind and generous and curious and funny. The level of hospitality that I have received all around the world makes me embarrassed to come from Denmark. And I'm not embarrassed to come from Denmark, to be honest, because I come from a wonderful, very beautiful, amazing country with a beautiful history and culture. And I think we're pretty polite and helpful. I think hospitality ranks pretty good in Denmark, but we are in the little leagues in Denmark compared to so many countries around the world. I mean, you can hardly imagine what strangers are willing to do in order to accommodate strangers in other countries. A stranger is a friend you've never met before. That rings true on account of the kindness that I have received from so many people all around the world. Well, that was your status update. Don't worry about me. The adventures will continue. Look out for the documentary, for the book. And if you want me as a speaker, then look up thorpedersen.dk.